All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Motor Vehicles and Transportation on this Thursday evening. We have a number of bills on our list, although you'll be happy to know that some of them have been taken off. I decided early on to try to get you the list as soon as possible, understanding that there would be some changes, but I wanted to give folks as much time as possible to read through things and come prepared. So that is why it is it will vary from time to time. And along those lines, HB 7 and HB 550 are off today's list. Those are on hold, as is HB 700, 1038, and 1173. So I'll let you know as we go through them, but just wanted to flag that for you up front. So we will be starting with HB 435, Prince George's Speed Monitoring Systems, Route 210. You all will remember this is an exceedingly dangerous highway. They've had a lot of accidents and fatalities on this highway. They had 3 speed cameras before, and the policy of the committee is, in order to get speed cameras, you have to show that it is an exceedingly dangerous area. There is a sunset on it. There has to be a the Wyville Amendment, the Patrick, what is it? Real-time speed posting. Thank you. I couldn't come up with the word, to show motorists how fast they're going. And so it had all that. And then also the money has to go back to that area to fix it. We heard from the folks in Prince George's County, as well as, I can't remember if it was SHA, but we heard from people some of the things that they have done in this area, but it's still exceedingly dangerous. So with that, they came to us asking for 10 cameras. You see in the draft that you got earlier, 6 cameras. And so I'll open it up. Thoughts, discussions, comments. Yes, Delegate Davis.
Thank you. I've got, as the person who lives south of 210 and have to travel through 210 to get the heck out of Charles County. I just want to, I have an opinion, but I just want to offer some different stuff.
Okay.
First of all, at 14 cameras, which, as you know, has been changed, there'd be a camera every 1.4 miles, first of all.
I'm sorry, Delegate Davis, it's not 14. It was total. They came in asking 10. For 10. It will be a total of 6. There will only be 6 for that entire 14.
And who made that amendment that was offered later?
That was a discussion that I had with Patrick and with the chair. And so we've reviewed the testimony and the evidence and thought that 10 was too much, but 6 with the option of stationary or mobile.
Okay, let me just offer some things for discussion. Okay. There have been several deaths. Several of them have been pedestrians, not caused by speed. There was also a big one that 9 people died, and it was right on the Charles County Prince George's line, and it was 9 years ago, and it was a big road race, and they dove into pedestrians standing on the side of the road. So I think the numbers that they presented, I would submit that the numbers that they have presented are a little skewed, or they lead to you to believe other things. I've got some more notes. It is also a constant traffic jam, no matter what time you come through there. I don't know who's speeding unless they're speeding on the side, because it is constant traffic jam there at all times. It is simply, I believe, it's a tax on people from the South. The speed cameras now are clocking people at 176 miles or whatever they said. And what's being done about it? I mean, it doesn't seem, if you're not writing tickets, it doesn't seem that it is going to slow people down if they're going fast anyway, because you can't go fast on 210 on either direction at any time. Oh, unless maybe it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I find it overburdensome. I think it's a tax on Charles County people. And did we discuss whether it's going to be stationary or not?
To the last part, we were giving them the option of stationary or mobile. But that's very helpful. Thank you, Delegate Davis.
Yeah.
Yes, Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you. Could you tell me where it has a sunset in the bill? You mentioned sunset when we were getting into this. You said there's certain criteria we follow.
Yeah, Patrick? Patrick, you're on mute.
Sorry, it's in the amendment.
Okay.
Do you have the reprint?
Yes, I do.
It's page 3, lines 20 through 23. The brackets are stricken and the dates changed.
So it's a 10-year sunset?
Well, we're 5 years in, so it's 5 more years.
Okay, thank you.
Other thoughts, comments? Both on the bill and the number of cameras.
And
Yes,
I
Delegate
should mention the
Morgan.
report. We
Oh.
had a report requirement in the previous one, and it was actually pretty well done. It was only one report in 2021, and it was informative. This report is an annual report so that we can keep up with it instead of just having one report.
Thank you.
What does the
Delegate
report
Morgan?
show? Thank you. I'm sorry. What did the report show?
It talked about the projects that they used, that they put in, and the changes that they made. It's in the fiscal note. It's linked in the fiscal note.
Thank you.
Delegate Morgan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think anything we do to improve safety and help people out with these speed cameras is probably a good thing. Whether, I see where it says here that it's going to go to 6. Some will be portable, some will be mobile. I see the sunset clause, and if we don't do something, it's going to get worse. So do we just sit there and ignore it? Or do we do something proactively, which is what the delegation seems to want to be able to do? And we go from there.
Yeah.
Yes, Delegate Guyton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we're polling, I am fine with the bill as written, as amended.
As amended? Okay. Other thoughts, comments?
Can I say something real quick?
Please.
I wanted to ask, Prince George's delegation is meeting tomorrow morning. If Delegate Healy could possibly get this onto the agenda, that might be good for.
I will, as soon as this meeting's over, I will call the chairman and ask him if we can address this quickly
Okay,
in the morning.
that'd be great.
Okay.
That's a hold.
No,
We can vote.
We can vote, and then I'll take it to the delegation in the morning. Because it still has to go before the full committee, before it's a final action.
Okay.
We will not move it out of the committee without the Prince George's letter, but we can
Right.
vote on it.
Delegate Guyton, did you have something else, or is your hand up from before? Okay.
And one more thing, we still require that the money from these fines go to remedying the engineering problems on that highway.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes, Delegate Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, if we're polling, I like this bill. I'm going to vote for it with the amendments. And I especially like the provision that the revenue is going to be allotted to fixing the road. I think that's something that hasn't been done enough throughout the state. And I think when we don't use the revenue from these cameras to pump back in to the roads themselves, we are only promoting the view that this is just about revenue generation and not about safety. And this is, obviously one of the most problematic, if not the most problematic road in the state. And I think what I like the most about it is that I think we might finally, because of this revenue, be able to get a long-term structural solution to a road that desperately needs it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments they want to make? Okay, is there a motion on the amendments?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I hear a motion in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on the bill as amended.
Move favorable.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Delegate Davis and Delegate Jacobs. Got it. Okay. Thank you. We will move to HB 519. That is flipping the paradigm. I want to call this the J. Jacobs bill because his story just broke my heart. So this is the one that right now our law is that you cannot ride bicycles on sidewalks unless locality opts to have it otherwise. And we're just going to flip the paradigm that says you may ride on sidewalks unless the locality says no. Any discussion?
I love it.
You gonna make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second.
second it.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, moving along. Like I said, 550 is going to be held, 700 is going to be held. We move to HB 806. If you all recall, this is the bill that says that companies that convert commercial or industrial vehicles to autonomous vehicles, and this is mostly on, like they're not riding on the roads. These are on like, construction sites or something else like that, that they are not dealers. And I believe there was a potential amendment that the sponsor had given to us, but was not willing to see the bill go down in case we didn't want it. So, Patrick, anything you want to add to that? And if you could talk about the amendment.
Yeah, well, the amendment we got, the official amendment was not drafted correctly, so we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, let's go by.
The amendment was requested by the auto manufacturers to say that they're not liable for any damages caused by the retrofit by the autonomous vehicle company, which is basically restating law. I just didn't think it was particularly necessary.
That's right. You reminded me of Torts 101, which I'd put out of my head.
I believe Delegate Stewart said the same thing to me once.
Yeah.
Terrible memories, Madam Chair.
Terrible memories. Yes. Yes, Delegate Morgan.
So on this bill, I've dealt a lot of my lifetime with UAVs and all the stuff that flies around in the sky. And the question I got rhetorically is, I went over to the, I don't know if anyone went to that transportation innovation luncheon we had today. It was sort of informative, but are we really ready now for prime time? Are we ready for prime time? Working the SAE criteria and all that kind of stuff, which I deal with a lot. Are we really ready for this at this time? Or is it where does the technology still need to advance to a further state that provides health and safety to, having these autonomous vehicles riding around in warehouses, maybe Amazon will have them or FedEx, but I worry when I see these things and you go to a Home Depot and the things drive around autonomously and somebody walks and gets in the way and no one knows what's going on. And I just worry with those SAE 1 through 6 stages. I don't think we're even at a 2 now. And then you have to retrofit the warehouses and things like that to accommodate the autonomous vehicles, et cetera. So those are just my off the head questions.
Good questions. Thank you. Delegate Stewart?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I actually agree 100% with Delegate Morgan as usual on this, which is that I am a skeptic of autonomous vehicles generally. And I think one day we will get a bill probably to this committee or maybe in to this subcommittee about regulating the technology, about trying to put guardrails. I've seen a lot of horrifying reports out there about these things killing people or whatever, but I think this is a separate issue. I'm going to vote for this bill despite those concerns, the broader concerns I have with the industry, because I think this is very narrowly tailored to a business that's currently doing this, doesn't have any safety problems that we're aware. They just want to be able to continue their business model, doing so legally without being treated as a dealer, which they clearly are not. So I don't have a problem with this bill, but overall, I just want to kind of plant my flag alongside Delegate Morgan's that this is a conversation that's going to come back to us, and I'm anxious to have that conversation. And I want to make sure that as this industry develops, we're putting safety guardrails on it. I just don't, unfortunately, I don't think this bill gives us that opportunity.
Thank you. Delegate Ziegler, did you take your hand down?
Yes, I took my hand down because Delegate Stewart said what I was going to say, essentially.
Got it. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Delegate Jacobs?
Maybe I missed this, but is there amendments offered? I know that Alliance for Auto Innovation had testimony in favorable with amendments, and I got in my notes, I got amendments coming. Are there amendments on this bill?
So that was what we were mentioning at the beginning. Their amendment was to say that they were not, the original manufacturer was not liable for what the retrofit, anything that resulted from the retrofit. And as Patrick said, and re-entered my nightmares, that's current law. They wouldn't be responsible. They wouldn't be liable.
Thank you. I'm good with it.
Okay. Any further comments, discussion? Is there a motion on the bill?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Anybody opposed?
No,
Okay. Bill passes. And we are moving on to HB 49. So HB 49, the background to this is it was a Montgomery County bill. You all may remember this, but since it's changing the way citations are done, because it affects the district court, it has to be a statewide bill. And so what this does is on a 4+ lane road, if a driver is passing a school bus in the opposite direction and does not stop for the school bus stop sign and gets caught by that school bus camera, the first time it is a citation. So remember, it is not the 2-lane roads. So if you're passing on a 2-lane road, you're going to get that $250 ticket. If you pass from behind, you're going to get that $250 ticket. This is to address those situations where it's a really busy road and people don't know because it's not part of the curriculum, unfortunately, as I know, because my son just went through it. He didn't know this. And people are getting slammed with these really expensive tickets, which in my mind, it should be if you're passing on a 2-lane road in the opposite direction or you pass a school bus from behind. And remember, on these 4+ lane highways, if there's a median in the middle, you don't have a ticket. If there isn't a median, then you do get the ticket. So that's the background for this bill. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts?
I should
Yes,
mention,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was just going to mention that there's also a required study of SHA, which they thought was problematic.
They being SHA?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
thank you.
Could I interject?
Sure, Mitch, go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually did look at the 3 spot locations that Delegate Moon named in the previous bill, and I just sent him that the other day. So I think we're good on that part now.
Okay, great. Delegate Davis, I believe you had a comment?
I remember, thank you. I remember the hard work that Delegate Moon put into this, and I remember that he convinced me that this was a good bill, so I would move favorable.
I'll second that.
Great. All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Great. Anybody opposed? Wonderful. The bill passes. Okay, moving on to HB 957. This is a bill that we have had, veterans of the committee will remember, many, many times. Delegate Folden had it years ago, Delegate Parrott had it years ago. And it has always generated opposition from the Black Caucus. And so this committee has not passed it. So with that background, Patrick, anything you want to add to that?
It's a massive floor fight.
yep. I agree.
Yes.
Move on favorable.
Hang on, Delegate Morgan has his hand up.
I just, if you could, since I'm the newbie, could you tell me why there's a fight from the Black Caucus?
The
Is
Black
that too
Caucus
sensitive?
is very leery of new motor vehicle violations because of violations of driving while black.
Okay.
Delegate Davis, you went off mute. Did you want to add anything?
I can't speak for the Black Caucus, but she was talking about moving over so everybody else could speed by. That turned me off.
Okay. Delegate Jacobs?
I thought we passed Parrott's bill that just put signage up on the road about this issue.
Yes, we did.
Didn't we?
We did.
I believe
Yeah.
that was just rural though, wasn't it, Patrick?
It was rural, and she has submitted amendments to make that rural statewide, which I believe SHA objects to because the signage requirements would be really onerous.
Right, but I mean, we did address this issue last year and pass legislation with signage for slower vehicles to move to the right. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Ziegler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So since your son just went through this, I went through driver's ed, A, 100 years ago, and B, in Massachusetts. I grew up believing it was a law.
I think
were
it is in
told.
Massachusetts, actually.
Oh, okay.
And it
Okay,
is,
so that's
yeah.
it.
Half of the states
But your
have this law,
son did
about half
not-
of them don't.
I'm sorry.
What was
About
that,
half of the
Patrick?
states have this law, about half of them don't.
Okay, so your son didn't get this?
No,
In
I
driver's
told
ed,
him
Okay,
that.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Delegate Healy, was there something that you wanted to add?
I was just going to say, the law that we passed with the signage has no consequences for the drivers. They just see that it's a good idea. And they're just signs that are posted in rural areas. And as I said, there's no consequences connected to it because we've been through this several times and we've had terrible floor fights and it can't get out of the Senate anyway.
Okay.
Delegate Guyton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think given what Delegate Healy just said, I may not even need to speak. I was uncomfortable with the bill purely because I am someone who does not, sometimes I speed, but I don't go extremely slow. And I still have people in that lane, even when I'm moving at a pretty brisk pace, just on my tail and trying to knock me off the road. And I'm afraid this might send a message to people that that's actually okay. So I'm sort of bothered by that, but thank you.
Got it. So is there a
Move on
motion?
favorable.
Thank you, Delegate Davis. There a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the unfavorable motion?
Aye.
Hi.
Anybody opposed to the unfavorable motion? Okay, The bill fails. Moving to HB 1002, police initiated towing alterations. This bill is a subject of, oh, Patrick, what, 2 years of work?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and a lot of negotiations and a lot of hard work. And at the end, I think we all saw everybody coming together around this bill. Patrick, you want to give everybody a little bit more background on what it does?
Yes. Give me a quick second here. Well, basically the bill, missing some papers here. All right, well, the main thing the bill does is it sets up a rates commission that will set the rates for towing for medium and heavy duty vehicles, for police initiated tows. The vehicle would have the option to, that's current law, to call in their own tower if they can get there within a half an hour. And then it repeals, once the rates are set, it repeals the requirement that the tow company release the vehicle upon a payment of 20% of the towing bill. And we have Lou and Andrea here if they have any comments or criticisms of what I've said. Lou is with the truckers, Andrea's representing the towers.
And as Delegate Stewart likes to say, they were all singing Kumbaya at the table.
That's what we like. Beautiful music.
And we do have some technical amendments. We're just clarifying on page 4, lines 11, 17, that we are talking about medium and heavy duty towing, and that it's towing and recovery. And I also want to suggest another amendment that I don't think anyone will have a problem with. On page 5, it says in E, the department shall provide staff for the committee. This is the rate setting committee. And in H, it says the department shall provide staff support to the committee.
Yeah,
We only
I saw
need
that
one.
too.
We only need one of those.
We only need one of them. Andrea and Louis, you guys okay with that?
Yes, Madam Chair, that's fine.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank
Patrick,
you.
for catching that. Yes.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay, any discussion?
I move the technical amendments.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendments?
Aye.
Any opposed? On the bill as amended,
I move
Yay.
favorable.
Second.
right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic. Anybody opposed? Woo! Andrea and Louis, thank you both. And
Thank you.
we'll give
Thank
Delegate
you.
Foley a big thank you as well. You all worked very, very hard on that bill. Thank you. Okay, bill passes as amended. HB 1038 is on hold, and we are moving to HB 1049, which is to report on assaults on public transit operators. Patrick, you want to lead us through this, please?
I think you just did. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The Delegate Bridges, the sponsor, is looking to increase penalties for this, and he hasn't been able to get any traction on that. So he wants to get better information in support of that effort. That's the reason he has the bill. And currently, and I confirmed this with MTA today, the Transit Administration, they collect the data. WMATA collects the data, but they don't collect it together, and they don't collect from the local transit operators.
And I don't believe there are any opponents on this bill, and it is not a task force bill, so therefore it does not go into the octagon. Any questions, comments, thoughts on the bill? Okay, is there a motion on the bill?
I move favorable.
Move the bill.
Okay. So it sounds like a motion and a second. All those in favor of the bill?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, bill moves clean. So I guess I didn't need to ask the chair for a whole hour unless you all are going to take a super long time on our last bill. We are holding HB 1173 and we are moving to HB 1207. This one was the one that blew, I think, everybody's mind, that there are no requirements on putting kids in on the back of a motorcycle. Not exactly no requirements, there are some, but this is the one that would put the requirement in that the person needs to the passenger's feet have to be firmly on the footrests, and we do have amendments. Patrick, you want to tell us about them?
The amendments, I believe, were first mentioned by Delegate Guyton at the hearing. Just limits this to a person who is under the age of 18.
Yeah, so only to minors. Any discussions, thoughts, comments on the bill?
Wait,
A
I
little
can't
of a
ride
way
my
to
16.
reduce their risks if they can't reach the pedals.
Thank you. Delegate Davis?
I have a question. Is it both 16 and you can't reach the foot on the pedals?
If you're under 16 and you cannot reach the pedals.
Okay,
You're 16 or under 18?
Wait, hold on a second.
yeah.
It does say or, we could make it an and if you wanted to. What would the subcommittee's preference be? That it be under 18 and can't reach the pedals?
I think under 18 is a little oppressive.
So what would you prefer?
I don't know. I defer to the committee, but I remember riding a bike at 16, 17. I thought that it made sense if you can't reach the pedals.
So you would prefer or?
I think that would be an and.
That would be an and.
Yeah.
And the age?
Right.
18, under 18
If
and
you're 17 and you can reach the pedals, then you could be on it.
You guys, this started off as a 4-year-old on the back of a motorcycle. And now we're ending up with 16-year-olds on the back of a motorcycle.
Well, this was always everybody.
It's just the example that they gave in the testimony.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think it's oppressive.
Okay.
I don't know what I would suggest. I defer to the committee for further discussion, but I think it's way oppressive.
Well,
Okay. Hang on, Delegate Healy. Delegate Jacobs?
So let me get straight here, Patrick. Say it's a 10-year-old and they're on the back of the bike and they can put their feet firmly on the foot pegs, then it's legal, correct?
Under the bill, you mean?
Yes, as amended.
Well,
So-
right now it says, if it said and, that would be correct. That would be legal.
So, I mean, what the bill was trying to do was say that, that you got to be able to plant your feet firmly on the foot pegs, right? Or you can't
Correct.
ride on the back. But that,
Correct.
I don't understand why that's got anything to do with an age.
Because it's the allowing of an adult to make their own decision. For
So the
instance, I
sponsor-
have a cousin who's a little person.
So if you're a father of the child and you want your child to ride on the back that's 10 years old and your child can hit the both foot pegs firmly, they can ride. Is that correct?
If the father allows it.
So age is really not relevant if you have supervision, is what you're saying.
That with an and, that would be correct.
Okay.
Delegate Guyton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I like the bill, and obviously I like the amendment because I sort of pushed forward a little bit. But just to clarify, so I also make sure that I understand, originally the bill was written to say that if you cannot put your feet on those pedals, you cannot ride that motorcycle no matter how old you are. So you could be a 40-year-old, and if you're a short 40-year-old, you couldn't ride, right? What we did with this amendment is say that only applies to minors. So if you're over 18 and you're still short and you can't touch it, that's your choice because you're 18 and you can make those decisions. But if you're, and if you're 10 years old and you're tall enough, you can also still ride it, right? But, if you're 10 years old and you're too short, you can't. But that only now applies to minors and not to everyone. Is that an accurate understanding of what this amendment and the bill with the amendment does?
I think that's an accurate description of what we're trying to get to. I apologize. I'm trying to interpret this as we go.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So we want you to have to touch the pedals. But if you're an adult and you still can't touch the pedals, that's on you. Like, that's just your freedom to make a dumb choice and fall off the bike. That's where we're trying to get. It sounds like that's what this amendment does.
Right, and it's only for the passenger, not for the driver.
Right.
Right.
I'm rereading it. It's fine as drafted or works. But
Okay.
what Delegate Guyton just said is what I think everyone is saying that they're comfortable with. And that's what the bill does read.
Okay.
Delegate Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I don't think I was here for this hearing. So I apologize if I'm trying to wrap my head around this and or thing. I think that even though I love Delegate Guyton, I think I actually disagree. I'm going to come down on the Delegate Davis is going to hate me, but I think I'm going to come down on the big government side here. And I agree with Delegate Jacobs, which I don't really understand why we have to make age part of this. I kind of feel like if no matter what age you are, sorry to all the short people like me out there, if you can't sit as intended on the back of the seat, which is to say that your feet are locked in, to me, it's analogous to a seatbelt law, which we did not pass because we were trying to protect people from themselves so much as we passed that to make sure people didn't come shooting out the windshield and hurt other people. I feel like this is not an adult's decision to make for themselves, because if you can't reach the bottom for your feet, you're going to fall off and you're going to end up in somebody else's car. So I feel like the whole libertarian notion of everyone kind of looks out for themselves if they're an adult applies so far as you can guarantee that the flying body is not going to end up in my car. And since you can't guarantee that, I think I'm going to vote against the amendment.
Okay. Any other comments? Delegate Healy, did you want to say something?
Well, I did until I heard Delegate Stewart talk. So I think I'm kind of with him now. And I think that would satisfy Delegate Davis as well, because it's only about how long your feet are. I mean, how long your legs are, I guess. Oh, but let me ask. I'm sorry. I just
Go ahead.
as I was saying that, it occurred to me that there may be an issue with people who have prosthetic devices that people who've been through the war and had a leg replaced, I'm not sure if that's even relevant, but it just occurred to me.
So as I hear it, Delegate Jacobs, go ahead.
You know that I ride a Road King, don't you? I have a Harley Road King.
I did not know that.
Yep. Well, anyhow, I've seen plenty of people with prosthetics, and I talked to somebody, and even if they have those, they still hit their foot pegs. But I talked to somebody in Delaware last weekend at a motorcycle shop, and I said, "What's the law over here in Delaware?" about people on motorcycles. And I think they told me that was the law in Delaware, that your feet had to firmly hit the foot pegs. So I think it's kind of uniform.
For everybody or just for minors?
I mean, it makes sense. It should, listen, as an owner of a motorcycle, it should be that your feet hit the foot pegs. Otherwise, it's unsafe.
Okay.
I don't care what age you are. For safety's sake, you should be able to plant your feet on those foot pegs. But I don't know that age is an issue. So I just want to let you know.
Okay. Delegate Guyton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Delegate Stewart, you were a great orator and you actually almost convinced me. Here's my question for the attorneys here. I don't know all the law. I do, however, know a lot about disability law, and I'm a little concerned that saying that an adult who could not reach the pedals couldn't ride a motorcycle based on the fact that it might not be in compliance with the American Disabilities Act, because there are lots of reasons that they might not be able to reach those pedals. So that is why I would probably need an Attorney General's decision on whether that amendment, without the amendment, whether it would be legal before passing the bill. But I do think we should do something with the bill, because I think it's an important bill to pass. I just don't know that you can say that certain adults with different leg sizes can't or cannot ride. I don't think that's legal, but I'm not an attorney. But I do know ADA. So somebody else speak up if you know the answer to that.
Delegate Stewart, do you know the answer?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So there's only a discrimination problem if someone's in a protected class, and people with disabilities are part of a protected class. But Patrick, unless you can correct me if I'm wrong, the original bill, which I guess I'm now an advocate for, already exempts people with disabilities, right? So, I mean, I've got the bill up.
It does.
It looks to me, yeah, and in section 2 here, it says that subparagraph 1 doesn't apply to a passenger on a motorcycle who is unable to position the passenger's feet firmly on the footrest due to a permanent physical disability. I think that's how you make it constitutional. So you're basically what we're saying is, or what I guess what my position is, if you've got a prosthetic leg and you can reach the footrest or whatever, you're good with me. If you're a freakishly tall 6-year-old, you're good with me. You're a short 35-year-old who can't touch it and who is endangering my safety because I'm driving alongside you, you're not good with me. But if you can't reach it because of a disability, that's fine with me.
Thank you, Delegate Stewart, for reminding me what the text of the bill actually said. So we can both be right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm still probably not going, oh gosh, I'm going to vote for the amendment and move favorable on the amendment. But if you guys pass it without it, I'll probably vote for the bill. But I don't want to.
Okay, well, it sounds like there is a motion on the floor favorable on the amendment, which is the age limit. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All of those in favor of the age amendment, raise your hand. Okay, 2. All those opposed to the age amendment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the amendment fails. All right. On the bill itself, is there any further discussion?
I'll move the bill, and I'll also say, Delegate Guyton, don't feel bad, because that's a very rare opportunity for us to have a live vote on an amendment that I don't know the outcome. So that was fun. And I appreciate your thoughts. And I'm going to move the bill.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the bill?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Anybody opposed to the bill? All right. The bill passes. I got to tell you, I didn't see that one coming, but that was an awesome discussion. Thank you all so very, very much. Great. Okay. So that is everything that we have. We're done. Anybody have anything for the good of the order before we sign off?
Weren't we 6:20 for back room?
6:15.
6:15, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
I undershot last week and I overshot this week. I'll get it right one of these days.
Okay to finish early.
Thanks, everyone. Take